it have to be able to carry extreme right to the right of it is higher legal and employment and employment. I hereby request the CEO to the Oladipo vice person of forum meeting. Thank you. Based on the confirmation of I call on the registrar CEO to read the up complaining to speak annual general meeting. I'd like to also recognize our own important John Adatiba. Thank you very much for attending. Now, based on the confirmation, I hereby call on the read the note convening contain pages of the 2023 annual. Thank you. Council on that. Annual general meeting of property secretary. July. Day before the members annual general meeting of this year ended and very more. Zero. Ordinary meeting, which meeting? Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Also, drawn at the financial before Friday, 7th June 2024. Interested and eligible members to be to download the nomination forms into the council website www.easan.org. And to note, attendance annual general meeting at 1:21. Dated this 5th June 2024 by order of the council. Thank you very much, Registrar CEO. Distinguished colleagues, it's my pleasure to now present my address, which is on the relevant pages of the 2023 annual financial statement. The report had earlier presented to members and just
Fellow distinguished churches, secretaries, and administrators, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to the 50th General Meeting of Great Institute, the Institute of Chartered Secretaries, Administrators of Nigeria. It is indeed with profound appreciation and great sense of responsibility that I present to you today in my capacity as the 29th President and Chairman of CAS, an account of our stewardship over the past 1 year. As we all know, annual general meetings are a statutory requirement which provide a formal forum those whom the governance of the entities have been entrusted to give account for their stewardship to their members. For ITSAN, this year's AGM is significant because it's the fifth edition, which means that those saddled with leadership responsibilities have been providing reports and accounts to our members consistently for the past half a century, in conformity with legal requirements, principles of disclosure and transparency, and best practices. Accordingly, we are laying before you today reports and accounts of the year ended 31st December 2000 and an insight into how the Institute had been run period under review, also to offer a platform for esteemed members to give constructive input for the progress and advancement of our institute. Specifically, we are laying before you today the council, the financial statements and accounts for the year ended 1st December 2023, the reports of the auditors, the audit of thereon. We have inserted corporate governance reports in the appropriate section of this annual reports and accounts. We believe that these combined will provide an adequate and comprehensive information to aid in the period. To myself, also other principal officers here with me who would provide appropriate annotations in their communications with you on various issues around this annual report and accounts. I also enjoin you to raise any issue of concerns on any aspects of the reports for clarification so as to promote mutual understanding. At this juncture, may I hereby briefly highlight some of the major developments in the Institute in 2023. 2023 in review. It is heartwarming that we were able to post some modest achievements in best practices across both the public and private sectors. In 2023, we also collaborated with other institutions and sustained good relationship with stakeholders, including all the leading regulators. For instance, the 2023 Company Secretaries and Registrar Forum was held successfully in collaboration with the Institute of Capital Markets Registrars, while forum, the leading regulators in Nigeria, the CAC, the FRC, Nigerian Exchange Group, Securities and Exchange Commission, all facilitated at the Institute's 2023 Governance Practitioners Day, which turned out to be another highly successful program. The Institute maintained relationship and remained an active member of the Corporate Secretaries International Association, CSIA, which is a global voice of corporate secretaries and governance professionals. ICSAN also maintained a position as a major stakeholder and active member of the Association of Professional Bodies of Nigeria, which is the umbrella body for all registered and accredited professional bodies in Nigeria. Currently, ICSAN
ICSAN is as representation on the EXCO of APBN for the Assistant General Secretary role. And the Assistant Secretary General whispered to me just before we started this AGM that election is around the corner. And trust me, we're going to clinch the General Secretary role. In terms of internal governance, our administration hits the ground running with the inauguration of all council and exco committees exactly 2 weeks after the presidential investiture, where the terms of reference and performance expectations of each committee were adequately communicated to the chairman and vice chairman of the committees respectively. I must say that all the committees have been working conscientiously to deliver on their varying mandates, as can be gleaned from the report of their stewardship on the relevant pages of this annual report. Likewise, following the inauguration of the committees in quick succession was the inauguration of the ICSAN sectoral groups, which is in line with our strategic direction as a council to spread the advocacy of good governance and build strategic alliances across the public and private sectors. Our guest speaker for that program was the CEO of Business Day Publications, Mr. Frank Aegogun, and he spoke to us on the topic, corporate governance, a destination or work in progress. In September, the council and management retreats held where the strategic direction for year 2024 was put in proper perspective. In more specific terms, we had the following key achievements that were recorded, and I'll just mention them. First is the inauguration of Kaduna State Chapter of ICSAN. We also had the signing of the MOU for Master of Science, MSc in Governance, with the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies in collaboration with the University of Benin. The implementation for that program is at a very high level, and it is our intention to commence the program by the next session, which commences in September. For the building projects, I am pleased to report that we have obtained both the building plan approval and the demolition approval from the Lagos State government, which would enable us to commence the development of a befitting national secretariat for our great institute. The physical construction is scheduled to start soon, and we count on the support of each and every member to make the dream of the ICSAN House become a reality in the not too distant future. I am sure for all of us in this room and those who joined us online, we know the very latest development regarding the building project as at this hour. Thank you for your continued support. Publication of the Institute's textbook on governance. This also was a big one for us as an institute, because this textbook on governance now completes the ensemble of textbooks for all the 4 courses in the final stage of the Institute's professional examination. We also submitted the ICSAN's curriculum for insolvency practice to the Corporate Affairs Commission, and progress is ongoing on this. In our recent engagement with the Registrar General, as of a couple of days ago in Abuja, this was still one of the issues that we discussed, and we're trying to tidy up and ensure that we commence certification as quickly as possible. During the period under review as well, we had some strategic engagements and official visitations at different times between July and December 2023. We paid strategic advocacy visits to the stakeholders listed here with the head of service of your state, the Kaduna State Governor. We had very useful engagements with the Vice Chancellors of Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, and the Vice Chancellor of the Kaduna State University on possible linkage agreement collaborations. Also, we engaged with the Registrar General, Corporate Affairs Commission, the Chairman and Executive Commissioner, Operations, Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission, the Managing Director of Bank of Industry. These visits and engagements afforded us the opportunity to further advocate the role of ICSAN in the governance space and the Institute's contributions to numerous economic policies and national economic development through the instrumentality of propagating sound governance principles through the issuance of periodic guidance notes and communiques. The visits also paved the way for quality partnerships and collaborations for capacity building, linkage agreements, sundry MOUs, as well as an opportunity to further deepen ICSAN's thought leadership. I might add also action leadership and influence as a leading voice on governance matters in Nigeria. We also had engagement with the Executive Secretary, Financial Reporting Council. We had some advocacy documents and position papers also submitted to FRC and other regulators during the period under review. We had the election of ICSAN president as the treasurer of the Corporate Secretaries International Association. And we also had the rebranding of the Institute's magazine, hitherto known as the Charter Secretary and Administrator. It was appropriately rebranded as the Governance Professional to reflect its contextual relevance to all professionals within the governance field. During the period under review, the proposed ICSAN CGIM bill also received some intensified efforts through the reading of the first reading of the bill and the second reading just about to happen anytime soon. Now, a glimpse into 2024. I'm rushing because I want to assume that we've all read the reports. In the current year, we have been able to hold more than 60% of our annual programs, including the Company Secretaries and Registrars Forum, the Conversation, the Fast Track to Membership Program, the Young Professionals Forum, and the Roundtable on Corporate Governance, which held yesterday. As already highlighted in the Secretariat report, we have a number of ongoing linkage agreement discussions with various institutions, some of which have already come through with duly executed linkage agreements and ongoing implementation mechanisms being tidied up. We are committed to executing all our remaining programs for the year with focus and with passion. In conclusion, we have every reason to look at the rest of 2024 with hope and optimism. And I am confident that by the time I will be giving this kind of address at the next AGM, we shall have exciting progress to report across many areas of our present endeavors. I want to thank all of you for the support you have shown as committed members of this great institute. Your dedication and support, including financial support through timely payment of your annual subscriptions and participation in our fee-paying programs, has enabled us to carry out the Institute's functions and activities without hitches. I am most delighted to report that despite the current challenging economic headwinds, and also within a very short time, we have been able to turn around the deficit position of our financials into positive. I thought you would encourage us for that. Thank you very much. My appreciation also goes to all our members who have served and are currently serving on various committees and sectorial groups of the Institute for putting your invaluable expertise and knowledge for the benefit of our great institute. We shall continue to count on your unwavering loyalty and commitment at all times. I also want to thank all our chapter chairmen and their excos for their commitment and hard work towards making our various chapters viable, with a view to providing the much needed visibility for the ICSAN brand as the hub of governance professionals. Once again, distinguished governance professionals, I welcome you all to the 2024 Annual General Meeting of the Institute of Charter Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. Long live the Institute of Charter Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria. Long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria. My ICSAN, your ICSAN, our ICSAN. Thank you for your attention. Okay, moving forward, I hereby move to the first item on the agenda that had earlier been read to us, which is to lay before the meeting the financial statement of the year ended 31st December 2023. It is now my pleasure to formally lay the 2023 audited financial statements before this annual general meeting. The 2023 annual audited accounts is hereby laid before this meeting. I hereby lay the accounts for the annual reports and financial statements for the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria for the year ended 31st December 2023 before the members. Thank you very much. I now call on our auditors, and here represented by Mr. Akinwale Da Silva, to read the auditor's report. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. My name is Chris Wale Da Silva from John Oyetade and Co, Chartered Accountant. And this is a report of the auditors of the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria. We have audited the accompanying financial statement of ICSAN, set out of date 8 to 29, which comprises of the statement of financial position as of 31st December 2023, the statement of comprehensive income, statement of changes in members' funds, statement of cash flow for the year ended 31st December 2023, explanatory notes to the financial statements and financial summaries, which have been prepared under historical cost convention. We have carried out short auditing procedures and obtained all information and explanation as we consider necessary. Responsibility of the council and management for the financial statement. The council and the management are responsible for the preparation and the fair presentation of this financial statement in accordance with ICSAN Act Cap 113 LFN 2004, establishing the Institute and the Financial Reporting Council of Nigerian Act number 6, 2011, and the FIRS standard, and for such internal control as the management determine is necessary to enable the preparation of financial statements that are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error or misstatement. In preparing the financial statement, the council is responsible for assessing the institute's ability to continue as a going concern, disclosing as applicable matters related to going concern, and using the going concern basis of accounting unless the council either intends to liquidate and or to cease operation, or has no realistic alternative but to do so. Auditor's responsibility. Our responsibility is to express an opinion on this financial statement based on our audit. We conducted our audit in accordance with international auditing standards. Those standards require that we comply with ethical requirements and plan to perform the audit to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements are free from errors and misstatements. An audit involves performing procedure to obtain audit evidence about the amount and disclosure in the financial statement. Procedure selected depends on the auditor's judgment, including the assessment of the risk of material misstatement of the financial statement, whether due to error. In making this risk assessment, the auditors consider internal control relevant to the preparation and the fair presentation of financial statements to design audit procedures that are appropriate in the circumstance, but not for the purpose of expressing an opinion on the effectiveness of the internal control. An audit also includes evaluating the appropriateness of accounting policies used and the reasonableness of accounting estimate made by the council, as well as evaluating the overall presentation of the financial statement. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our audit opinion. In our opinion, The financial statement presents a true and fair view in all material aspects of the financial position of the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria as at 31st December 2023, and the financial performance and its cash flow for the year ended 31st December 2023, in accordance with the International Financial Reporting Standard, BIN standard and interpretation issued by International Accounting Standard Board adopted by Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, Act number 6 of 2011. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Messrs. Oyetade John and Co, represented by Mr. Da Silva. We appreciate the report. I now call on the chairman of the audit committee of the Institute, Mrs. Benedicta Shadari, FCIS, to read the audit committee's report to this annual general meeting. Thank you. Mrs. Shadari. Okay, while we're waiting to sort out the audit committee's reports, I now call on the Honorary Treasurer of the Institute, Mr. Francis Olawale, FCIS, to read the Treasurer's reports.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Good afternoon, dear members. The report has been sent earlier, so I want to believe we've all gone through it, so I'll just speak to it. I'll just read some parts of it. So here is the Honorary Treasurer's report at the 50th Annual General Meeting. So esteemed members, I'm pleased to present this report on the occasion of our 50th Annual General Meeting, especially because of the positive turnaround and great improvement from what was reported in the previous year. This report analyzes the financial statements of our institutes for the year ended 31st December 2023. The year under review was very peculiar in many respects, from the fact that there was a transition from one government to the other, and we know the peculiarities of that in our climate. There were also issues around subsidies. There were issues around foreign exchange situation, and all of these have their turn on the economic situation generally. And we are also parts of the economy, and for which we don't have direct control. So the first highlights, the financial statements highlight at a glance. You'll find that on pages 84 to 83 to 85 in the annual reports and account. In those statements, you realize that we had total assets increased by 11%. Our liabilities also increased by 28%. And overall, we had an increase of 9% in our net worth as an institute. On the financial performances, there was a very significant increase from a loss last year to a profit. And that was a significant increase of 174%. I thought we were going to clap about that. This time last year, I was under hit from you. So I have a bragging right. Today we had 174% significant increase in our financial performance. And at the end of the year, our loss position of 35 million turned around to a 26 million profit. Okay, so going to the financial position now, I'll also leave the schedule and just speak to it. We had a 35% increase in our cash and cash equivalents. Our receivables also grew marginally by 5%. And there was a reduction of 5% in valued stocks at the end of the year. Our PPE, property, plant, and equipment, depreciated by 4%. Liabilities increased, by 93%, because there was actually foreign training that we're supposed to have, and then our textbooks, which the president reported, were also in production, and then we had obligations to pay for them. So that's impacted on our liabilities. For income and expenditure accounts, we had 14% increase in our income from members and students due to increase in student renewal fees, and we had a marginal increase in member subscription. These two combined to give us an achievement of 14% increase in our operating income. There was an astronomical increase of 249% in income contributed by yields in our investment in treasury bills and exchange gain. All of this also culminated in a 22% increase in total income. It's noteworthy to say that the major contributors to our income for the year were investiture, trainings and workshops, conference, then the exam study tests. To also achieve this, it is also noteworthy, to mention here that we embarked, in addition to our income contributions, we also embarked on very aggressive cost control and resource rationing in the year 2023. All of these that have been said, we also, on the third page of my report, we also did a 5-year analysis, trend analysis of performance. The Institute recorded the best results in the areas of income, total assets, special funds, and total funds. The notes to the accounts on pages 86 to 89 form very valid parts of the accounts, and then they provide further explanations to some of these parameters that I've mentioned. In line with the facts presented above, I state to you, that the Institute, the financials presented represents a true and fair view of the financial position and activities for the year ended December 31st, 2023, as attested to by our independent external auditor. And from the facts presented to you, Institute remains a going concern. I'm very grateful. In rounding up, I would like to say that I'm very grateful for the privilege that's been given to me the last 4 years or thereabouts to serve as the honorary treasurer of the Institute. And like I've been saying this last 4 years, I will say it again. I will continue to do all that needs to be done to uphold the ethos of good governance, areas of transparency, probity, and accountability. I wish us all a successful 50th annual general meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our Honorary Treasurer, Mr. Francis Olawale, FCIS, for that report. You know, sometimes when some things are reported and they sound very easy, uh, a lot of work and that report, and to achieve the strides that are reported. We are not there yet. We'll continue to count on you to do the best with our resources and ensure that year on year for our AGMs, we report an outstanding treasurer's report to our members. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on very quickly, dear distinguished chartered secretaries and administrators. The report of council's activities is contained on the relevant pages of the annual reports and financial statements, which, like I said earlier, have been circulated, and therefore I wish to take this as read. Thank you. Are there any questions that members may wish to ask, either online or here in the room? May I quickly state that every member who wants to ask a question or questions should activate the raise hand on the Zoom platform for those who have joined us online. And when such member is called upon, he or she should unmute the mic in order to speak. I request that members make comments that are brief and should also make those comments with the highest level of professionalism. The floor is now open. Mr. Uche Uwecha, can you hold on a bit? Let's see if there are hands online. IT, can you help us check? Any questions online? I see a couple of comments in the chat. Not yet. Okay. We'll pause at this time to take the report of the Internal Audit Committee, of the Audit Committee, I beg your pardon. So after that, we'll come back to take questions, comments from members. Over to you, Mrs. Shadari.
Thank you very much. So, reading this report on behalf of the members of the Audit and Risk Management Committee of the Institute for the year under review. So the report is to members of this institute. In accordance with the laws of the institute, we report as follows. Sorry for that hitch. That we have exercised the statutory functions under the laws and acknowledge cooperation of management and members of staff in conduct of their responsibilities. So we are of the opinion that the accounting and reporting policies of the institute are in accordance with the laws and ethical practices. The scope and planning of both the external and internal audits the scope and planning of the internal and external audit are accordance to the laws that are laid down. And we as members of the committee, we have considered the external auditors management during the year under review, and we looked at the management letter. We considered a lot of things and made recommendations, adequate recommendations. So the external auditors received the necessary cooperation from members of the audit committee and also from members of staff, and that members of the committee that we did our job judiciously as laid down. And I want to report that we carried out our duties as laid down in our terms of reference. So
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mrs. Shadari. Thank you. Let's appreciate her. Apologies for the little glitch. All right. Now back to taking questions around the accounts or other comments from members. Online comment or question for now. Now take questions from those inside the room. I will be starting with Mr. Uche Uwecha, who had earlier indicated interest to ask a question or make a comment. Do we have a roving mic somewhere?
Thank you very much. Madam President, Madam Vice President, distinguished members of the high table. First of all, I want to commend the Institute most graciously for how you managed to navigate in the kind of, is it tornado or whirlwind or serious environmental crisis that has enabled us to turn a serious deficit to a positive. I think because last year when you showed us that deficit, we were not happy at all. But now I think we can smile because you have done very well. I want to say that with the turning of the sword today, I was thinking that I was going to hear about a National Secretariat Development Levy that should be compulsory going forward for all members, because charity must begin at home while we're out there looking for sponsors. As I was thinking, I remember my son went to a school, and I remember from year 1 to year 6, after you have paid your school fee, you will pay, and you see them, they are developing the hostels, building new ones. I would really suggest, Madam President, that we should have an ICSAN headquarter development levy, which would be something we should now start doing, so that it may not look so much, but I can assure us that it will provide us with a steady stream of income while we then go out to look for the big box. That's what I would like to say. Number 2 has to do with the audit statement as well as the report from the audit committee. As the foremost governance professional institute, I would really suggest that we practice what we preach. And one of the things we preach is compliance with rules. You know that today, auditors ought to raise issues of key interest. I didn't hear that. Does it mean everything is okay? Can we go to bed? Is there no area of concern? So I really want to see even our audit committee sitting up doing its work, so that if there are areas we should take note of, we should be able to do so. The final comment I have to do goes to the registrar. We have been struggling to download the accounts. It has been a challenge. Please, if the tech team can even out so that we can still look at it, I think that would be very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Uche Uche. Thank you for those two questions. I think there were two comments. For the building development levy, you must have been a fly on the wall on our last council meeting dates, because that's definitely is something that council has given approval to be done, and the members will be hearing from us in that regards in due course. For the audit statement, thank you for that comment, well taken. And I believe there are no areas of concerns or issues that should give us any worries, so to speak, at least as far as this particular report that we're presenting today is concerned. But going forward, I mean, there's always room for improvement. There's always room to ensure that we keep improving on our processes and the due diligence we bring before these August members. And registrar, I'm sure you've taken note of the issue of the accounts that are unable to download. Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Questions? Okay. Excellent. Thank you very much, everyone, for your patience. The next item on the agenda is election of council members. In accordance with Article 6 of the first schedule of Decree 19 of 1991, now cap I-13 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, Mr. Francis Olawale, FCIS, Mrs. Benedicta Shadare, FCIS, Mrs. Abiola Lasainde, FCIS, Lady Cheta Onwabuike, FCIS, Mr. Sheson Shopowale, FCIS, and Mrs. Marilyn Eze, FCIS, are retiring and being eligible offered themselves for re-election, except Mrs. Abiola Lasainde, FCIS, Lady Cheta Onwabuike, FCIS, and Mr. Sheson Shopowale, FCIS. As at the 7th of June 2024, duly sponsored applications for election into council had been received on behalf of the following members. 1, Mr. Francis Olawale, FCIS. 2, Mrs. Marilyn Eze, FCIS. 3, Mrs. Benedicta Shadare, FCIS. 4, Mr. Ime Asibong, FCIS. 5, Dr. Bayo Adaralegbe, FCIS. And 6, Mr. Oluseyi Abiodun, FCIS. The elections were conducted electronically and the results will be announced by the Electoral Committee. The committee responsible for election process at ICSAN is the Nominations and Governance Committee. The chairman of the committee had given his apologies for not being here physically, for his currently out of town, and he has delegated that the vice chairman should come and present to this AGM the result of the recently held and concluded election. So I now call on the vice chairman of the committee in person of Mr. Dele Togunde, FCIS, to present the committee's report. So he's our returning officer for today. Please let's appreciate him.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I hope the media and the security agents are around to protect me while I render this election result. Pursuant to Schedule 1, Paragraph 6 of Eastern Act, number 19 of 1991, Act I-13, Law of Federation of Nigeria, 2004. Election was conducted to the Governing Council of the Institute, filled 5 vacancies. The process started with a notice to all members of the Institute requesting for eligible candidates to fill and submit their form of expression of interest between Monday, 3rd June and Friday, June 7, 2024. Accompanying electoral guidelines were issued. As at the close of submission of the forms on June 7, 2024, the committee received 6 duly completed application forms from eligible candidates as follows. Mr. Oluseyi Abiodun, FCIS. Mr. Ime Asipon, FCIS. Professor Bayo Adaralegbe, FCIS. Mrs. Marilyn Eze, FCIS. Mr. Francis Olawale, FCIS. And Mrs. Benedicta Shadari, FCIS. For the purposes of transparency, accountability, and integrity of the process, an independent consultant was appointed to manage the election process. Elections took place between Friday, 28 June 2024 from 11:59 p.m. to Tuesday, 2nd July 2024 at 11:59 p.m. Committee observed that there was low turnout and voters apathy, but the election was free, fair, transparent, credible. The result of the election is hereby presented. (168 members out of 438 eligible voters cast their vote during the elections. A total of 6 candidates contested to fill the 5 vacancies. The total number of votes cast was 702 and broken down as follows. 694 valid votes and 8 invalid votes. Actually, those invalid votes, they have what is responsible for them is maybe double voting and all this. The system is equipped enough to detect all this and take care of it. By virtue of the number of votes received, the contestants' results are as follows. I'll present it from the order of the below to the highest point. Mr. Essien Ime Asibon, 80 votes. Mrs. Benedicta Shadari Uvoki, 114 votes. Mr. Abiodun Oluseyi, 114 votes. Mr. Professor Adaralegbe Bayo, 116 votes. Mrs. Marilyn Eze, 126 votes. And Mr. Francis Olawale, 144 votes. By virtue of the number of votes received by each contestant, the following members are hereby elected to serve on the Governing Council of the Institute for the next 2 years. Number 1, Mr. Francis Olawale, FCIS, with 144 votes elected. Mrs. Marilyn Eze, FCIS, with 126 votes elected. Professor Bayo Adaralegbe, FCIS, with 116 votes elected. Mrs. Benedicta Shadari, FCIS, with 114 votes elected. Mr. Oluseyi Abiodun, FCIS, with equally 114 votes elected. Mr. SN Ime Asibo with 80 votes not elected. The nomination committee members are Mr. Babashegun Adewumi, FCIS chairman, Mr. Dele Togunde, vice chairman, Ms. Ronke Okajobi, FCIS member, Mr. Waboy Agbebaku, FCIS. Result is duly signed and is hereby presented to the president. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice Chairman, Nominations and Governance Committee, Mr. Dele Togunde, for that presentation which you have made on behalf of the committee. Distinguished members, from the reports and election results that we have just received from the Nominations and Governance Committee, I hereby declare that the above mentioned members are elected into the Council of the Institute. That is Mr. Francis Olawale, FCIS, Mrs. Marilyn, okay, you can go ahead and clap if you wish. Thank you. Mrs. Marilyn Eze, FCIS, Mrs. Benedicta Shadari, FCIS, Dr. Bayo Adaralegbe, FCIS, and Mr. Olusheyi Abiodun, FCIS. We want to also appreciate Mr. Ime Asibong, FCIS, for the attempt. You know, that's the beauty at ICSAN. Everybody is a winner because you know that when the institute makes progress, you are also making progress and you can identify. And we don't want Mr. Asibong to be discouraged. Please keep trying and one day it would happen. So congratulations are in order to the newly elected and the returning members of the council. Congratulations, congratulations. The last agenda item to be presented at this meeting today will be decided by poll. Therefore, voting for resolution in respect of the agenda item will be done electronically using the poll facility in the Zoom. And the next item is to authorize the council to fix the remuneration of the auditor. I hereby propose that council be and is hereby authorized to fix the remuneration of the auditor. Just 1 second, members. Apologies. Okay, so I'll take that again. Apologies for the H. The next item for the consideration of this AGM is to consider and, if thought fit, to pass the following ordinary resolution, of which notice had been given, that Messrs. Oyetade John and Co, Chartered Accountants, the retiring auditors to the Institute, shall not be reappointed at the annual general meeting, and a new auditor be appointed as auditors to the Institute. I call on the chairman of the audit committee to give us a quick brief regarding the new proposed auditors for the approval of this meeting.
Thank you very much, President. During the year of review, we had the recommendation to get a new auditor, and that was put in the notice that the Oyetade and Co will not be re-elected as new auditors. So we carried out the exercise of getting the new firm of auditing of auditors, and we had series of interviews for auditing firms, which was published in all the platforms. And after the successful interview, we made sure we did all the necessary due diligence. The committee came up with a new firm of auditors, which we recommended to council, and council has authorized that they'll be presented at this AGM. The new firm of auditors is Abikele, Kikelomo Abikele and Co. I believe they are present here at this meeting. Hand up for recognition. Kikelomo Abikele and Co., the firm of chartered accountants, and also, so these were recommended by the committee, and as well as giving the authority that they'll be present and they'll be introduced to members of this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Shadari. Please, you may be seated. So the chairman of the audit committee has rightly presented the new auditors as approved by council to this AGM. And now the next item is to authorize council to fix the remuneration of the new auditors. I hereby propose that council be and is hereby authorized. Okay, so before we take the remuneration of the auditor, may I propose that the AGM approves the appointment of the new auditors, Kikelomo Abikele and Co. Do I have a seconder, please?
Madam President, based on the presentation of the audit committee, I move the motion for the due appointment of the audit committee as I, Jacqueline Odiadi, FCIS.
I'm sorry, we are governance practitioners. And it's always important that we have our say and not just come to meeting to listen. For such an important office as auditors, external auditors, we are not told why we are changing them. I think it's a very important governance issue. Why changing the old one? So that we will understand. I'm not doubting anything, but I think it's information that needs to be shared with the general meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ochiweche. Mrs. Shadari will give an appropriate answer to that.
Yes, thank you very much. Based on the engagement letter of the former office, Oyetade and Co. So the 5 years term, which is renewable, which could be renewed. And of course, the council authorized that their tenure will not renewed again. So that's why they gave the authority that a new firm of auditors be gotten. So it was based on their 10 terms of, yeah.
Thank you very much. Any other point of order in the House? It's very good because we are not welcomes feedbacks and constructive ones at that. Thank you very much, Mr. Ochiweche. Please, let's appreciate him. We will now proceed. Okay, well, we already approved the meeting. Okay, let's just put it to vote. Are there any dissenting voices in the House to the appointment of the new auditors? Or perhaps we should now indicate our approval by a show of hands and also online. Show of hands for this meeting to approve the appointment of the new. 'Scan the online votes as well. Twenty-four votes physically cast and how many online? 5 online. Thank you very much. Do we have any opposers? Does anyone oppose the appointment of Kike Lomo Abikeme? 7 online, 24 on site. Any objections to the appointment? Thank you very much. The AGM has now approved the appointment of Kike Lomo Abikeme and Co. as the new auditors for the institute. Next item is to authorize the council to fix the remuneration of the auditor. I hereby propose that council be and is hereby authorized to fix the remuneration of the auditor. May I please have a seconder? Online, does anyone want to second this motion? Okay, there's a hand at the back.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Olasukomi. I hereby second the motion that the council fix the remuneration for the auditors. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I now put the motion to a vote. And you have about 20 seconds for those online using the Zoom facility to cast your votes to support this motion. And in-house, please, can we have a show of hands for those in support of the motion? Twenty-nine on-site votes. Online votes, what's the number we have there? 11. Thank you very much. Okay, so do we have any objection to this motion? Any opposing position? Following the results of the voting as announced, I hereby declare that the resolution to authorize the council to approve the remuneration of the external auditor has been passed. No dissenting votes. I declare the motion carried unanimously. Thank you very much for participating in the poll. Distinguished charter secretaries and administrators and fellow members, we have now dealt with all the formal business of this meeting. Before we close the meeting, however, I would like to call on one of our very revered senior members who was here to grace the occasion of the turning of God. He still stayed back in the AGM. I would like to call upon him. Prince Adeniga, please can you hand over the mic? You have the floor, sir.
Say good afternoon, Mr. President, and the members of the council. I also extend my greetings to my fellow members, all in all categories, and all others who are here for this meeting. My name is Prince Adenigba Gabriel. I was and I am a member of the Institute. I want to seize this opportunity to thank the Council of the Institute for the honor done to me by inviting me to this laying of the new foundation stone of the main building of the Institute. Reason, because I was involved in the building of the present building. I was honored by the Institute to chair the committee for the building of that building. And I think by the year 1992 or so, we completed it with under 2 years. And we thank God it was very beautiful, because as we were handing over the building to the management of the Institute, we had just avoided being thrown out of the building we were renting at Korodu Road. And people were saying, where are you going again? I thank God that we're able to build that building. And I will tell you, it was that gave us the respect from the London Institute, because we knew what was going on there. In fact, the London Institute was not too happy that we had our own building that time. Yes. But because generally management in let me say in England, they are used to renting buildings. But I understood the background, and I thank God that the council then took my suggestion that we should go ahead and build our own secretariat, even if the London Institute will not be supporting us. So I remember that while the building was going on, there were various bills coming from London. When the president mentions this to me, we have received this, what do we do about it? I say, just keep it aside. There is nothing bad in knowing London. But we must finish our building. So it got to a point that even whilst we were facing that difficulty, we had a local difficulty here. Because let me say congratulations to the building committee for this new approach to building a new institute, a new the main building. In our own time, we called for quotations, and the quotations that came to us was considering the inflation of that time, or rather the situation of that time, we felt it was outrageous, because we were giving bills going between 15 to 20 million to put this up. So, but fortunately, I'm not an architect, but I had some experience, and I was in the building material manufacturing industry, and with the discussions I had with friends, I felt we could do it much cheaper. Thank God, by the time we put up the building with, with the fence, we were able to put it for less than 6 million. Yes. Thank you. I received that laugh about 32 years ago. But I thank you because I know it's not an easy thing. So those of you in the building committee, don't make it a one-man show. Please, what you are starting is a big task. And please get the cooperation of the builders. We hope by the grace of God, we'll be able to achieve the building in Jesus' name. Let all members cooperate with the council so that in so many areas we'll be able to assist. And as we do this, all other areas of the management, the Lord will grant you strength to excel in Jesus' name. I will always hold the institute in high respect and pray that the good Lord will make it a very active and worthy institute in the the country of Nigeria and beyond. The Lord will be with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prince Adenigba. Prince Adenigba was also a council member for many years and he chaired many committees of. Thank you for sharing those encouraging words with us. Well appreciated, sir. Distinguished charter secretaries and administrators, we have now dealt with all the formal business of this meeting. I would like to thank you on behalf of the Governing Council for participating in this annual general meeting. I thank you for your cooperation and for showing much interest in the affairs of our institute. I hereby declare the meeting closed. But before we rise for the national anthem, I would like to announce that immediately after the national anthem, just give us about 5 minutes, we shall be launching the new website. That will be done digitally just for about 5 minutes. Once again, I thank you and I declare this AGM closed. Shall we rise for the national anthem? Very much. Please stay back for just 5 minutes. Just give us 5 minutes. IT, I hope you're ready. Please keep your eyes glued on the screen as we launch our new website. From here on, I would like the VP to take charge of the proceedings for the launching website.
Well, let's wait for IT, please. Let's do the trailer. And while the IT is trying to do the trailer, we ask that all members please log on and test and see, and please convey any concerns, any challenges you have accessing the website to the secretariat. You can see the pictures are scrolling on the screen. Is there a video? Okay. So let's hope that the videos, you can see all the wonderful pictures of the engagements, the activities of the institute that have taken place. And of course, that is the global photograph. And I believe the video is starting now. Okay, it's just this, it's just the trailer, the ticker. All right. So please, today we're using the opportunity of having our members gathered here to formally launch our website. Please go to the website. Can you display the page so that members can see? So please go to www.icsan.org. And like I said, we would like feedback, comments. We launched this website to the glory of the Lord and for the benefit of members of the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators, and for the fulfillment of our objectives under the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much. Let's have an applaud. And thank you very much, members. I hand the microphone back to Madam.
Thank you. Please let's appreciate our VP. I caught her unawares. That was an ambush and she handled it perfectly. Please appreciate her for me. Thank you. It's now time for photographs. Photographs, please. You are here physically, and by the way, you are here physically, and today is very historic. You know why? This is the last official function in this building. Yes. So we won't be holding to a place where I will show you. So it's very historic. Please don't go in a hurry. For those online as well, please activate your videos. Let's take this photograph. I assure you this photograph is going into the archives. When we are commissioning our building, this last meeting that was held there will definitely be a feature. Thank you for your patience. Photographs.
The online has been taken. For the online has been taken. Thank you.
Hello. 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 Hello.